What's up, everybody? Welcome to another week of Q&A. This week, I'm joined by my good friend, John Maciel from the URM. How you doing, John?
What's up, man? Doing great, man. That was a super anxious, like, what's up, man? Sorry. To anyone watching.
It's all good. I mean, you're getting used to the live aspect, right? So
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Well, because like for anybody who doesn't know, John is he's the community manager over at the URM, and he's getting far more involved in the video aspect, hence the dramatic lighting that's part of his capture right now. It's just it's pretty dope, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man. I have to honestly give a shout out to you, Beau Burchell of Saosin, who's also my mentor, and Nick Pilata, URM Academy's production manager. Like, you three have helped me make my lighting so much better in like a month. And this just goes like, if you have the right friends and people in your corner, success comes really easily and quickly when you take their advice and you pick what works for your style and aesthetic. But yeah, man, like, got a ring light because Courtney recommended it, changed my soft lighting because of what you recommended, my angles because of Nick, and then overall the aesthetic of everything, key lights, fill lights, that's all Beau. And, you know, it's made a huge difference. And there's so many people that watch on video now, whether it's live streams, Twitch, YouTube, like your camera and audio and lighting have to be, like, all three are as important. I would say that audio, lighting, and then video in that order, but they're all equally as important. It's like they all matter immensely.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I mean, like, I think that lighting is definitely one of the most important aspects of your videos. I mean, like, I've been experimenting with lighting for the Neural channel for over a year, and I still feel like I'm like learning stuff along the way. Like, yeah. I'm definitely not I'm not an expert by any chance, by a stretch of imagination, but like, I've gotten much better at it, and also the equipment that I have has improved over time. But like, yeah,
yeah, you're not using that iPhone anymore for your camera.
No. You've
upgraded.
Well, what's been the one of the biggest takeaways that you've had from, you know, adopting so much of this, like, video information, lighting? Like, what are some of the things that are really important to you that you're learning along the way?
That this is the future for audio engineers and anyone in music. On COVID, when it hit, and we've even recognized this at URM Academy. For you guys who don't or are not aware of URM Academy, it's an online educational forum for rock and metal producers. And essentially each month we give you multi-tracks to whatever band is. This month we have Loathe, and George Lever is going to come on and show you guys how he mixed the track from Loathe. And one thing we are noticing more and more is that clients' needs are changing, and the video aspect and the audio aspect are merging more each and every day, becoming integrated. And you used to be able to be like, oh, I'm only a mixer, I'm only a mastering engineer, I'm only a tracking engineer, I'm only an editor. You can't do that anymore if you're going to survive in this really saturated market. And the only reason it's saturated is because you have so many people who are only niche in one thing. But if you are well equipped in a lot of stuff, it's not hard. And you might be, you know, decent at audio, but your video is really good. People are more inclined to work with you and let you grow those skills in that other aspect. And what I've taken away, the last couple of months have honestly been the first time I've ever dealt with video in years. Like, Steven can attest, like, mixing and audio is really where my wheelhouse has been for the past 4 or 5 years, just getting really good. And the past 6 months have been extremely intimidating because I've been doing more live streams, more video, and all this stuff. Like, kudos to you, Steven, and everyone else who does this. Like, this crap is not easy. I'm fortunate enough to have friends like you, Beau, and Nick, who are guiding me through all this. Had you guys not been there to guide me, I would still be like 9 months behind what you guys are currently seeing from just experimenting, trying, failing, trying again. So, you know, a lot of what I've learned in the last couple of months is, like, your friends that are good at stuff that you're not good at, like, freaking ask them for help when you need help. Don't be shy. And luckily, you know, if you're a cool friend, they'll help you. They won't be like, nah, brah, nah, no one helped me. But yeah, I really think that this stuff, even for like guitar players, like the Neural bass, if you guys aren't experimenting with video now, use your phones and get into it, because it's not slowing down. It's aggressively been growing for the past couple of months, and it's only gonna, I think next year we're gonna start seeing a lot of crazy stuff happening between professional musicians, mixers, all sorts of stuff. There's video and audio is just gonna, it's gonna kind of be like the line blurred between mixing and mastering. It's gonna be like that with audio and video, I think, in the next couple of years. It's already heading that way.
I agree. I think that streaming is the destination for so much of the music industry. 100%, especially for performances, and like you can see so many bands adopting live performances. I think I think I saw an advertisement for Behemoth. Matt Heafy from Trivium has been doing it for forever on Twitch. I think that dude's an early adopter of that particular genre for sure.
Yeah, and you have to think like a lot of these bands and artists are now starting to utilize like Patreon, Instagram Live, their own YouTube. So they are good at the thing that they do, but if they have the means, they're going to try to outsource and find people to help them grow aggressively, because you and I both know it's so difficult to be good at video and then execute content and things that you need to do at a rapid rate to keep up with your audience, because the audience, you know, they want, you could put 10 things out in one day and they'll still want the 11th thing before you go to bed, because they just want to consume. So I think it's just, you know, if you're not doing it, man, get into it, get some friends that can, you know, you can start messing with, and you guys can start figuring out lighting, how to do virtual bands. You know how bands were doing like the cover band thing a couple of years ago, where it's like your friend would be in like New Zealand, you'd be in California, and then the other guy would be like in Toronto, and you guys would have like a virtual cover band. I think that's going to come back even stronger in the next year.
Sure.
With travel restrictions, everything that's happening, I think thinking very linearly is going to die soon, and people are going to really realize you have to be creative to make it, and, you know, just have fun with this too. I know I'm speaking from a professional standpoint, because like this is my livelihood. So I'm constantly thinking, where are things going? Because I work on an educational format. So I want to know what's going to matter in a year, because we need to educate our students at URM on this is what applies. And today, for example, we dropped an OBS fast track, because as soon as COVID hit, it's been such a game changer. Like, we're all in this same predicament that it just sucks for all of us, and we can't go out, we can't network and mingle like we used to. So one way to combat that for our students was, well, let's teach them how to use OBS, which is like anyone can download and use, and they'll be able to stream with their clients, help their clients stream their shows, like you mentioned earlier. So yeah, so far it's been like, what, 10 minutes of just us ranting, like, start learning video.
I don't know what he's asking, but no, I totally agree. I absolutely agree. I'm using OBS to stream, you know, this conversation out to YouTube. I'm using OBS to eventually stream, like, you know, performances, and I'm going to be doing some like video game stuff with a buddy of mine. So like OBS is great for what it is.
Honestly, it can take you extremely, like, it is limited, but it's going to take most people a while to get there, until they're at the point where like, man, I need to upgrade to, you know, a paid software. But between OBS and like DaVinci Resolve, I think those are honestly two tools that will take you very far. If you get good at them now, next year, you'll be super happy you did it.
Well, it's going to be interesting seeing the industry change and adapt, and, you know, use these, you know, how long has it been since the shutdowns occurred? It's like 6 months now.
For us in Los Angeles, it was like right at the beginning of March. So yeah, let's say like 6 months.
Yeah, something like that. And, you know, so like you see this shift in focus. Like if you go onto like eBay, or if you go onto like Sweetwater or anything like that, interfaces, HDMI capture cards, microphones, like all of these like home studio live streaming equipment, they're all out. They're all completely out of stock. And it's going to be interesting seeing all these companies shift focus to kind of meet the demand that's starting to crop up in the field right now. And to see what technology comes from this stuff too, because you know that people are going to try and start doing, you know, R&D on newer and better interfaces and better like equipment to alleviate the streaming woes that we're focusing on now.
Yeah, I also think that it's gonna create with everything you just said. I'm also wondering where things are gonna go in terms of like where interfaces are gonna evolve, because this is all stuff that's gonna matter. Like, will we have interfaces that have capture cards embedded in them like for the bedroom person who's doing guitar playthroughs? Like, that's where my head's at. I don't. If a company's watching and they haven't thought about this, you guys are like shitting the bed. Like, that is a brilliant idea. The more I do this, I'm like, it would be so sick to have like. I would pay $3,000 for a nice interface that had DSP on it, everything I needed, and also capture cards for the cameras. And I can take that in a rack with me anywhere I go and connect to my laptop. And I have, it's not gonna be a super powerful streaming machine, but it would be something where I can record bands, do a live concert with the band in a studio, and stream it all with cameras and stuff. And I don't know the power consumption of something like that, but that's where my head's at, is like, where is this going to evolve? Because I'm already seeing things that I know I need as a consumer. Who's the guy that's going to invent that? And that excites me, because then once these obstacles are out of your way and you're not carrying 2 bags or 2 like suitcases of gear, creativity takes over again, which is the point of all this. Is we want to be creative. That's why Nero DSP consumers come and get your guys' plugins. They want to create sounds that sound like people they love, like Pliny and Abasi, and then they want to also be creative themselves with the tones that inspired them from artists that inspire them. So keeping it all creative is what it's about at the end of the day too.
I agree. On that note, like, what are some of the things that are inspiring you currently? What are some things that you get really torqued on?
If you guys don't know, torque is like an inside joke from the URM summit 2 years ago. It's based on a Waves plugin. Right now, honestly, the video stuff is exciting me. This stuff is super aesthetically pleasing. Like, when I work on a record, I sit there for hours mixing a song, send it to a client, and it might be a couple of months until I hear the record or it's released so everyone can hear the record. So there's like a waiting time. And when you do so many records back to back, it's like that window is like shorter. But I haven't really worked on a lot of records in the past year because I decided to dedicate most of my time to the URM community and helping those guys level up as quickly as possible. I haven't really had content like that come out, but with the video stuff, now that I'm getting more into it, it's like a next day turnaround, and I'm seeing it. And then I get to see people's reactions, what they like and don't like within a day or two. And then, hit up Nick and say, hey, let's tweak this, this, and this. Like, I have this idea. And then I bounce ideas off of friends and like, hey, do you think this would be a cool idea? Like, what is your audience like on this type of thing? Cause I'm thinking like this type of thing. That stuff excites me. And you know me, like, I can talk all day ideas because getting people invested into whatever I'm doing and then them getting better and leveling up sooner is what I'm all about, because like I didn't have any of that backing when I started. So being able to help people level up their skills in any capacity quickly by seeing the end result much faster and executing much quicker, that's exciting to me. Like, I'm more focused on the video stuff just because I can finish it, make a video clip, and if it works, I can drop it publicly like the next day and see what people are feeding. That's exciting to me. I know some people get nervous about content and people seeing it and being critiqued. I'm like, talk all that shit. I want to understand why your viewpoint of whatever I did sucked, because your one voice is probably another 1,000 people's voices. And I want to tweak it a little bit so that you might not hate it, but you might be like, all right, I could see why this is cool, but it's not my thing. I'd rather someone say it's not my thing than, oh, this is bullshit. But that's what's exciting me right now. Like, this video shit's fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it really speaks to, it speaks to you as a person as well. Like, because you and I have hung out and talked a lot about this, but like having that sort of guiding principle at the root of all of your actions of, I want to help people do the best that they can with what they've got. I want to help people achieve their goals. Like, that is, one of the guiding principles that I've known you to have. And it's really interesting that not everybody knows to adopt that kind of principle. It's like, it's not even just that, like, just to help people or just to do whatever, but like, people just put out content, just try and put out content because they want attention.
Yep.
Like, there has to be better motivation than just that.
Well, and the thing that sucks when you do stuff like that is that if you get negative attention, you start not wanting to do it because it's not exciting anymore, because you're like, well, it's not the type of attention you wanted. Whereas if you're doing it with good intention, where I don't really care if someone hates it, I just want to know why you hate it, because I want to understand it so I can fix it or adjust it, because maybe you hate it at a different level of hate than someone else does, but if I tweak it, that other person will benefit from it. Maybe this is not your path or your journey or the message for you. That's fine. I don't care. I'm not going to lose sleep over someone's negative reaction to something. I'll take into consideration, but I can't please, whatever the world population is. I can't please everyone. All I can do is
perfect mindset for YouTube.
Yeah, man, that's what it comes out. What's exciting you? I'm curious, because like your level of excitement is always different than mine. Like you're like, I'm excited. And it's always like, like serious, but like when you're really excited, it's like, I'm excited, but there's a smile. When you're just like regular excited, it's just like, oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, no, my emotion level, like I rein everything in with a hard level of stoicism. So like you of all people understand that when I'm excited, I'm like, dude, this is dope. Like,
yep, there it is. That's when Steven's stoked on something, he smiles. When he's like semi-stoked, he's like, it's pretty cool.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. God, what is exciting me right now?
I mean, you guys got some cool shit happening at Neural. The Cortex, it looks like it's going to be amazing.
I'm absolutely stoked. I'm supposed to get my quad Cortex in within the next couple of weeks, I believe. I'm not sure exactly when that is arriving.
But I can't wait to come over.
Yeah. It's gonna be really, really sick. Especially because I feel like the quad Cortex is actually gonna be like, I'm gonna use it on like a daily basis when I'm gonna use it for my interface. I'm gonna use it in my streaming. I'm gonna use it for all like effects processing. I like people are like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a great guitar and bass and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, my streaming game is just gonna be upped. Like, tell Doug so much.
Tell Doug about my idea and Francisco. And And I think I think they would be the perfect company to do it. I
agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, let them know and tell them that idea's on the house. Just all for the love of Neural.
just get a little producer's credit at the bottom at the real John Maciel.
Idea credit, just a light bulb with my name next to it. But yeah, I could dude, the Cortex looks sick. I'm like, so if you guys who don't know me, like I'm pretty blunt and honest. Like if something's not that cool, I have no problem telling the person to their face, like I don't think it's cool. I think the Cortex is pretty sick, and I was lucky enough to see it right before NAMM. Steve and I used to be in a studio together, and Doug came through with one of the first versions of it, and it is pretty sick. I wish when I was in a band years ago, first of all, the size and the weight, it literally blew my mind how small it was, because they announced the pictures, and then I walked into the studio room and there it is on the desk, and it's literally like the size of an iPad almost. And it's not that thick. And then the weight wasn't even that heavy. And I was just like, Steven was there and saw my face. I was like, man, this is not what I expected. I was completely blown away by the sheer mobility, portability, size, weight, and it sounds sick too. And the thing that sucks is like everyone at NAMM, well, it doesn't suck, but they got to hear it through headphones. Hearing it through monitors and through actual like a power system is totally different. It doesn't do it justice. It sounds, I'm really excited where that type of technology is going. I've had an Axe Effects. It's cool. I still like them. Can't wait to get my hands on a Cortex though. I think for me, that's going to be the best solution for in the studio and live, because it can fit in a backpack essentially. And I don't have to worry about like a rack where I would with my Axe Effects.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The portability, the flexibility, just being able to use it as your interface so you can like offload your DSP to that instead of, taxing your CPU, like especially because like you're going to be able to use all of your Neural DSP plugins as blocks inside of it. Like I'm so stoked to get that on there.
Will the presets carry over? I don't know if you just said that or...
So the presets won't. What we're doing is we're going to be porting over the individual components of the plugins into the Quad Cortex. So you'll have like the Pliny head with the Nolly reverb and the a bossy delay, like you'll be able to like mix and match all of them as individual blocks and create your chains that way.
So
You'll,
each like pedal from each suite will be available as like, and I can create my own chain.
yes, yes,
Dude,
yes.
that Plini reverb and delay are going to be on every patch that I ever create.
It's my favorite. Like,
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. That
the,
plugin
the
is probably one of my favorite guitar plugins of all time.
the Corey Wong is definitely like it's now like as far as like the delay and reverb, like the delay and reverb and the Corey Wong are like right up there with the Plini. I feel like that, especially with the shimmer button on the wash pedal, the reverb, it's so good. It's so
Yeah,
good.
I don't know how that is possible with those plugins. Not to like kiss Nero's ass. It's just like I have so many other amps and plugins, and that's always a dead giveaway. Is the reverb or the delay pedals within the plugins are never like they have like that fake artificial top end sound. So I always end up using like Echo Boy or a plugin of
Yes.
either a reverb or delay. Those are the only amps besides I think Mercurial that I will actually use those onboard effects usually. And Steven, you know this, but a lot of people don't. I actually will use the Plini reverb. I'll bypass everything. I'll use the reverb as like a vocal verb or an effect verb for my virtual instruments when I'm mixing, just because it sounds so lush. DSP effective? Nah. Sounds great? Yes.
Well, I've used that first head to give like vocals a little bit of a crunch too. Like it just sounds really, really sick.
Yeah. I think it was either, it had to be Plini or NTS. I did like a vocal distorted sound, but like one of those lo-fis, it sounded absolutely terrible. And then when you put the cab on, it sounded better. But yeah, like, I don't know, with amps and plugins, I also recommend people don't just think of it as an amps and plugin. Throw it on everything, even rooms, see what happens. Who knows?
Yep. I think there's even some presets in the Dark Glass Ultra for snares too. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Heck yeah, man. Like distort some snares, distort some toms. That's what it's all about.
Yes. Dude, once you get to like the level where you can appreciate good saturation, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I love distortion. It's so great. And I hate when I hear bad distortion.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Why? Be better.
So I have a good question from Epic Chicken.
Okay.
Epic Chicken has been hanging around the Q&As the past couple of weeks. He's asking some really great questions. He says about the multifaceted skill set stuff. In what order would you learn these skills? Mixing first, mastering first, video stuff, etc.
Right now, where the world's at, video. I would 100% go into video, and then from video, I would start with podcast and YouTube, like podcast editing and mixing, and then from there audiobook, and then the next one would be YouTube videos of guitar players who are playing through like with drum tracks, kind of what Steven does with Neural. Mixing that stuff with your video is going to land you way more jobs than just being a mixer right now, and being able to know how to sync video to audio and edit drums to a video. That stuff lately has been coming up for gigs. I unfortunately can't take on a lot of these gigs because I'm just so busy. I wish I could, but it doesn't make sense. But those, honestly, podcasts especially, man, like it sounds boring, but would you rather be at McDonald's? No offense, I worked at McDonald's for like 6 years, but would you rather be at McDonald's for 6 hours making hamburgers in a pandemic, not knowing what's flying around? Or would you rather be in front of your computer for 6 hours editing some podcast about like auto parts? I would do the podcast editing personally. And then a lot of podcast people are starting to do video with their podcast. So if you learn how to do that and then sync it with the video, make the audio sound clean and crisp, they put that on your YouTube, you get a credit. Stuff like that is what I would focus on if I was starting off again. And then I would get, from taking those applicable mixing skills, I would legit go and join URM Academy, because that's what I did. That's how I found out about all this, is I actually subscribed, and I would learn how to mix like bands and drums and just get a basic understanding of all that. And then after I was good at those things, I would then maybe mess with mastering. Mastering is one of those subjects that I'm really sensitive about, because I think too many people think like, oh, if I can like just make this 2-track sound good, it's great. There's so much more than just getting the left and right. Like there's dimensions, there's other aspects. I think a lot of people get into mastering thinking that it's going to be simple, but you're only a good mastering engineer after you've burnt through so many mixes, and you're good at having a big picture, but knowing how things should be balanced, and you have a great monitoring setup, and great equipment. So yeah, not saying don't master, just saying I would focus on those things, because making a good living from mastering is going to be extremely difficult, because you have guys like Mike Collision that are fairly affordable, and you're going to be competing with those guys for mastering jobs when it's like for, not that much more money. They could go from you to this guy who has like credits like up the wazoo. So video, man, video editing for video, podcasting, books, pretty much just think anything people listen to and visually watch, and go figure out how to do that. Like make Foley sounds, like create Foley packs of just sounds for like random things, like go outside and record in your backyard, just you hitting a stick on stuff. Video game companies and indie companies are starting all the time, and they buy those samples that they can relicense essentially. There's a lot of ways to make money in audio. So I think people, especially guitar players, because I'm a guitar player too, and so are you, Steven. You play guitar, right?
Once in a while.
They we
Rarely
see guitar,
for
we
fun.
see band. Yeah. Not for fun anymore. But yeah, that's what I would focus on, man. I would go video, then audio, and then mastering. And yeah, I wish I could like give people like the how do you lit PDF file and like, here's this PDF file, do this for free, and give it like 1 year. And I swear if you follow to a T, you will be successful. And also being really easy to work with is super crucial in all this too. Being very easy to like, you got to have thick skin. It's never about you. It's about the project, and the client is almost always right. And even when they're wrong, you have to know how to tell them that they're wrong without them realizing. It's called like inception. So you got to convince them that they're wrong without telling them they're wrong.
Do you pull it DiCaprio,
Yeah.
So is that like, so if you had to start from the beginning, is that what you would do?
Yeah, 100%. My cousin started audio, and now he's doing video, and he's got like a $4,000 camera, and he's making his own short film. And I think he's doing it the right way. He's learning the video aspect, and he likes the music. He's done a couple of music videos, but the cool part is like, once he gets the knowing how to light and get the understanding real world variables is so much more difficult than throwing tracks into a computer and editing and mixing. Like once it's in the computer, it's a whole different ballgame. Whereas when it's outside, you're dealing with real world elements. And to me, that's such a more intimidating like thing to deal with in general. So he was starting with music, and now he's doing the video, and he's getting pretty good at it. And he's starting to like understand lighting. Like I say, he's working on his own script, but he's going to be able to take that and then go and take those audio skills and create soundtracks and audio for his own projects. He won't rely on someone else. So he's gonna be that much more of a force to be reckoned with. And then when he has other people that want to work with him, he's like, all right, well, I could do the audio on this project, and this dude can do the video, or vice versa. So now he has an opportunity of working on the project and making money no matter what, because he has those skills. So I think that's the way to go right now is, yeah, mixing and being in a band is all fun and stuff, but the reality is doing this stuff costs a lot of money. But if you know how to do it right, you save a lot of money, and then focusing on your audio skills.
So at what point do you feel that, like, all right, you and I are kind of the go-getters. We're not afraid of learning new skills and adapting to new challenges, learning new things to make sure that we have the best product available. But at what point do you feel it's appropriate to start delegating out to other people, to start hiring on assistants, editors, color correctionists, lighting, whatever, like at what point do you feel like it's, feasible for that?
So I am strange, and all right, this is my whole motto to life, man. When I was working at Rubio's, I started off in fast food, by the way. So, I'm used to working my ass off for stuff. And one of my mentors, when I was becoming a manager at Rubio's, which is a Mexican food restaurant, he was telling me that you can never go for the job that you want unless you've trained someone to do the job that you have. So at the time, I didn't understand it, because I was like, oh, that's like a weird saying, but like, what if that person's trying to take your job? But it's like, if you're truly confident in your abilities, you should never worry about someone trying to come after your job, because at the end of the day, you are you, and you are your own person. And if you're good enough, they're not even a threat to begin with. And I really live with that mindset that anyone can do what I do, but they'll never do it how I'll do it, if that makes sense. I'm very, very different in how I approach and deal with people and companies. And because of that approach, it's led to so many great opportunities. Now, when it comes to your question on like, when do I know? I never start something unless I have someone also that I'm guiding on the same journey as me. Because in my mind, first of all, I have to know that their wants align with my wants. So if I want to go for to a certain place, I need to know that that goal aligns with their goal, and they want to learn on this journey too. And they're willing to, go a little bit slower pace because I'm very aggressive, but they have the same, the same goal in mind. And with that, it's about finding the right people around you and the right friends. And you're like, all right, cool. I'm going to do this. This is your strength. And I'm learning how to do this. But as I'm learning, I'm going to teach you too. So you don't spend 6 months having to learn this skill. I'm already ahead of you by so many months. So this is how you execute this and this and this. And as soon as they're capable, hey, here's this. If you want to do it, it's yours. If not, cool. But if you want this opportunity, it's there for you. I'm ready to hand it off. And I do that. I've done that ever since day one. There were so many projects that would come my way. I didn't have time. So I would give them to our mutual friend, Miami Dolphin, who works at JST now. And he has worked with like Chris Black, and he has done stuff with so many other producers. But there was times when like we were on the same journey. We were both editing, working for other producers, and I didn't have time. So I was just like, yo, me and him are like the same skill level. Miami, you want jobs. Same thing with you. Same thing with Charlie Aben, who's Dave Otero's assistant. Like Charlie got the gig because Dave hit me up and asked like, hey, do you know anyone? And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I do. And Charlie, I've been basically training since day one to teach him to be a Maciel Jr. so that when the right opportunity came, because that's what he wanted. So I would coach him. And then when the opportunity came, it was like, all right, cool. I can't do this type of work. You take it. And I have other people right now at URM admins and stuff that I'm just constantly trying to train so that when it's time, I can delegate it to them. And it's something that they want. They want it. They have to want it. Their goal, it has to be their goal. If it's not their goal, it won't align with my goal. I can't bring value to that relationship and vice versa. So I don't waste either of our time. And I'm really upfront and blunt with people when I ask, like, what's your goal? Because if your goal aligns with my vision, then I can help you. If it doesn't, I'm not the right person to mentor or help you. And I get hit up all the time, but that's when I know is, okay, they can do the job. I'm done with it. And if they can't do it one day because they're busy or something happens, I can still do the job and I'll take it back on. I don't care until I find the next person. So I would say train people or be around people who you know and trust that the moment they're ready to take it on, just give it to them. Don't hold it. Don't hoard it. Don't be scared. They're going to fail. But as long as you know you can pick up the slack, let them fail, pick up the slack. But yeah, always try to bring friends and people around that you trust so that, you're not on this journey alone either. Like, I think me and Steven have talked about this all the time. It's fun doing this. It's also a lot of work and it's super lonely because you spend a lot of time in front of a computer by yourself trying to get stuff done by deadlines. But when you have friends in the same world, the same ideals, mindsets, and goals, it makes it so much more fun because when you guys come together, it's like a collaboration of ideas as opposed to like, oh, work's so draining. I don't think me and Steven have never had a conversation where like we're exhausted from work. It's like, man, we got so much to get done from work. Like, here's an hour break, but we're about to go back and nail it. So yeah, sorry for the long rant, but train people around you as soon as they can. Just delegate, man. Don't be afraid to give someone else the opportunity. And if they do well, it makes you look better. I look great. And it's like, and it's because like I trust the people that I train and I'm delegating stuff to, and I ask them like, yo, do you need help? Because the day's going to come where I'm not going to be able to have the safety on you anymore. And I want to make sure you're good because it matters to me that you're good. But I never worry about it. And I always make sure everyone's goals align with mine. And most of the time they do. And when they don't, I'll sweat off my back. I'm all for giving work away when I can. Because it frees up my brain. It frees up brain RAM. Like A.L. Levy, our CEO and founder, has recently delegated more responsibilities to Nick Pilata and I because we were just executing on so many fronts so effectively and efficiently together that he was like, I can finally let this thing go and let you guys do it because you guys are you have been doing it without knowing it for months. And I know you guys can handle it. And to us, we were like, oh, okay, cool. We didn't know that was like not a thing, but sick. We're just going to continue doing what we're doing. That's the type of attitude any true leader and winner has is, don't hoard shit. You're just going to exhaust yourself and waste brain power.
Right. No, I Completely agree with you. I think that actually brings up a really good point about curating the people you have around you. I feel like being able to parse out who is going to execute and who is not is going to be one of the best tools that you can equip yourselves with. You know, I like you and I have talked before about, you know, like, oh, this person got it done, this person didn't. And then the people who get it done, they're continued to ask, you know, be asked to get more stuff done.
Exactly.
I think that that's incredibly important.
Yeah. I usually start with one ask, and it's not that I have it on a timer. I'm more about, is it done right the first time? And, you know, when someone gets it done right the first time, even if it took 3 days the first time, I'm okay with that. Whereas the person who took 1 day and I'm fixing like a shit ton of mistakes, I get annoyed because I'm like, there's nothing worse than like hiring someone to tune vocals for you because you're farming out the edit work. And then you get the vocals back and it's complete shit. And you're just like, well, fuck me. Like, that just like, this is another 6 hours and I paid this person. So now I'm out the pocket. And I was giving them an opportunity because people ask me for referrals all the time. And
I did.
Yeah. Like everybody in my circle has gotten multiple jobs or on really good jobs because of my referrals. And it's not saying that like I am like a decider. It's saying like I'm a good judge of character and a good judge of talent. And it's like, if you can't meet my expectations, you're not going to get a shot with anyone else. Like, I have worked with so many dudes that have names. Like, you just can't afford to send them the wrong thing, man. Like, you have to treat it like it's the last project you're ever going to work on. And it's stressful when you have to think like, especially when it's something you've never done before and you're like, shit, I'm not going to bed for like 2 days because I have to figure out how to do this. But because of that quality of work, and when I'm asked, I'm able to give opportunities to other people. And to me, that's so rewarding and fulfilling. And it hurts when someone doesn't do the job right. And I'm just like, dude, this was 4 vocal lines. This should have not been that difficult. Fuck. And then I have to be the bearer of bad news and be like, look, man, thank you. I appreciate like the work you did, but next time I'm just going to have to go with someone else. And if you want to improve, like, here are some resources, go practice there. I appreciate your time again. Yeah, it sucks, but you know, I unfortunately, sometimes some people just don't have an ear for certain things. Like, you might be a great drum editor, but a shitty vocal tuner. Like,
yep,
it's okay to be that person too. You can make plenty of money doing that. It's just sucks when it happens.
Sure. Yeah, no, when like I got an opportunity to work for somebody, they're like, okay, well, I need these vocals tuned by 5 p.m. tonight. I'm like, cool, sure, got it. I'm gonna do it. And I never tuned vocals before that point, but it was like, nope, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna figure it out along the way, and got the job. You know, and that's, you know, that was like a pivotal moment for me because that kind of started me on my journey down to LA and then eventually to work with Neural DSP. And yeah, I think that not honoring the real opportunities that you're given is a complete show of disrespect. And it's as you said, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, because here's another part too. It's like, you might have, like, when I farm stuff out for people to edit for me, because I'm working on a project and I just don't have the time to edit, I'm looking for that next person to add to my team, essentially. Like, I'm doing it because like I already have my squad, but I'm always looking for new people to bring into the squad because I love being around talented people that in a year will show me tricks I would have never thought of. And then everyone you're Steven is part of my little circle of friends because we all work in the same field, and we're all always like sharing ideas and concepts, and we're all leveling up together. And it's more fun that way because everyone's enjoying everyone's successes. It's not, oh, he's doing this. Like, I'm not that type of person, and I never will be. So when, you know, I hand something off and it's not done right, it's like, man, dude, this could have led to, I don't know, maybe Beau needed help on like a big project coming up. I can't do it, but this would have been something I could have given to someone who nailed it on these 4 vocal tracks or like these like guitar DIs. You should approach every editing opportunity like the person you're doing it for is connected to someone that can make or break your career. And once you start having that mindset and you start saying yes to the right type of things, you'll be amazed at how fast your career can just like take off without even thinking about it.
Yes, Absolutely. I mean, I like my story in a small way is kind of a testament to that because I managed to go from basically jobless to working with one of the fastest growing plugin companies in the market in like 3 years.
Yeah,
You know, it's like that. That doesn't happen if you stay within your comfortable bubble. You know.
it doesn't. And like, I don't know if your audience knows this, but you didn't start off knowing video. It was a skill you had to learn for the opportunity when you moved to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I started doing stuff with URM back in November, and no, actually, no, you started doing stuff for Neural, I think. And we were barely starting to actually talk and build our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started hitting you up. I'm like, how'd you do this on video? And you were more like, Steven and I had talked at the first URM summit back in 2017, and we had like maybe here and there conversations throughout the 4-day event. Right. We didn't really talk then. Like we were just in different team circles. And then Steven moved out to LA, and Steven actually messaged me when he was moving out to LA. So this is more of a testament to Steven practices what he preaches. Steven was moving to LA, and he messaged me and my studio partner, Miami Dolphin, and was like, hey, separately, he messaged us, hey, I'm moving to LA. I would like to take you out to lunch and just chat and talk. And I think you went to lunch with Miami, and at the time I was still heavily working with Beau. So I don't know if I told you no or didn't reply, but I was just remember I was like, fuck, that would be cool, but I'm busy. And that I think I was probably doing records with Beau because I think the summit was right after the summit is when that happened, and I was knee deep in records at that time. And he did that just knowing me and Miami were there. He was like, these might be two people to talk to get to know. And then an opportunity came in the studio. He moved in. And before that, he had been doing video content. And then he was basically looking for a video job. And he was applying with like Slate, Neural, and Avid, there was like a list of companies at one time just seemed to everyone was looking for like a content creator type job. And I remember you applying for all of them. And I had sent Steven the Slate one just because I knew he was looking based on some conversation or something that I saw. I was paying attention to Steven's journey, even though we weren't talking. And then from there he got the gig with Neural, and then moved into the studio, a spare space with me in Miami. And that's how our relationship started growing. And then the more we talked, the more we were like, we have the same business ethics. Like we are very similar. Our personalities, like I'm very talkative and blah, and Steven's very mellow and calm, but our mindsets are very much on point. And it's just been very interesting to see like any opportunity that comes your way, you embrace it. Any challenge, it's not met with hostility. It's met with embracement and like, all right, here's another part of this crazy life journey. Let's do it. It's needed for the job. But I do know that every project that you take on and everything that you do is always met with the highest of standards. And you never treat it as like, oh, fuck, all right, I gotta get this thing done. It's not worth my time or money. Everything that Steven has ever worked on in front of me, or I've ever talked to him or discussed, it's always life or death with him. And it's the same with me and everyone that I work with. It's the same thing. It's like, we won't sleep until it's done. Right. Do we want to sleep? Yes. But the anxiety and the thought of fucking up that opportunity, just regardless of how big or small it is, it's not a thing we don't understand that. It's like, no, we got to do it to the best of our abilities. And I think because of that mindset is why we keep having these type of successes within our circle of friends is right. We all think that way. Whereas if you're someone who gets burnt out by like, oh, I've done like 4 podcasts this week, I'm so tired, and you just kind of phone it in, you're losing. You're going to lose. Yep. The moment you start phoning it in or getting tired or bored, anything like that, you're just shooting yourself in the foot with opportunities.
I agree. For me personally, a lot of it has to do with, I don't know if negative motivation is the right terminology for it, but like I worked in a mom and pop guitar shop, like dead end job for 12 years. It's like I sat behind a counter, and it was not the most pleasant experience. Like there were some good things about it, some bad things about it. But
he only remembers the bad.
But like I saw myself floating down the drain. I saw my life slipping away a day at a time, a year at a time. By the time I hit like 11, 12 years at the same job, doing the same thing day in, day out, like I just got this like existential dread in my chest that it's like, I'm not living my life in any sort of fulfilling way or positive or contributory. Like I'm not giving anything back to society with what I'm doing right now. Yep. So I had this kind of epiphany kind of moment and opportunity when, you know, the owner of the shop came to me and was just like, hey, well, this sucks. We're not making any money, so I'm closing the shop. Figure out what you need to do. And
thanks, bro.
It was pretty much that. Like he actually offered me like the shop. Like he was just going to give me the shop, and I refused.
Just signed the deed over and everything?
Yeah. He was just going to say like, here, you've worked here long enough. I know that you know, at least somewhat enjoy what you're doing. You've made rapport with like a ton of the customers. Like everybody loved me that came in the shop, but like, it's also like, I'm going absolutely nowhere. But
like,
yeah,
to some people that journey sounds like it would be the best journey, but for your personality type, that's like, that's just death waiting.
Dude, I get itchy if I stay in one spot too long. You know, like I gotta move. I gotta do stuff. I gotta create something. And so one of the reasons why I work so hard every day on projects that I'm working on is because I know where I could potentially end up. I know that unhappiness and that despair that I felt while being stuck in that position. And so I work hard because I know that that's something that could be a potential outcome should I not work as hard.
Yeah, that's like a whole another conversation too, because I know that part of your journey, and you know mine. And there was a point Steven literally had nothing. Like it was, if I don't do this, I am literally dead. Like I can't afford food unless I get this going. And we were both in similar boats. And you know, the goal is not to get to that point of desperation to like, this has to work, because if it doesn't work, that's it. But you know, having that determination factor, that the determination factor of your story is, you know, first of all, you knew that your calling wasn't to own a guitar shop or a mom and pop shop. That wasn't your calling. That wasn't your journey. That wasn't your story. Everyone who watches this, I don't know how many people are going to watch this, but if you want to get any sort of success or do anything of value within music, if your whole thing is just you want to write songs for you got to know your story, and you got to know why you're telling that story. And if you don't know that, you're just going to be miserable. And when I read comments of people who are burnt out, tired, or how do you deal with, like, I don't want to like bash like mental health, because I do, like, mental health is a serious thing, but it's like, if you don't have the message in your story, your mental health is going to be even harder to stay creative, because you don't know what that thing is. So you're searching, and then because you're searching, you don't know what it is, you get exhausted, you mentally burn out. And I know, because I've been there. That's what, and once you find that, you have to be honest with yourself. Like, what do you really want? Like, do you just want to play guitar in your bedroom and that's it? Or do you want to write riffs that people hear and they want to learn? You can make a lot of money just making riff music for video games, for like little commercial spots, for millions of companies all over the world that need guitar music for their commercial ad on satellite radio or whatever. There's so many ways you can do the thing that is your story and your calling, but you've got to figure that out for yourself. And then once you figure that out, don't let anything or anyone else convince you otherwise. Like, my family was not supportive of my audio dream when I moved to LA. They were like, come home, live with us, save money, find a job, all that. I literally was driving for Uber and Lyft when I wasn't making money when I was working with Beau at first, because he already had projects that were paid for. So the label's not going to give us more money to pay me. So whatever he could afford to pay me was what I was getting. So to make ends meet, I was driving, doing deliveries for Lyft, Uber, Caviar, whatever in Los Angeles. So I'm working like 20 hours a week, doing Beau stuff for 30 hours a week. And then I'm doing driving on top of that. I was exhausted and I was renting a room, but that's the type of thing I had to do. And mentally, I knew my story was, I'm going to leave a legacy by helping other people, but I first have to learn what it is I need to help people with. And I've never been exhausted since. It was a lot of work, but it was like just doing it at the end of the day. So find your story, find the reason why you're doing it. Why are you buying the plugin? You know, like, are you just buying it because it's an impulse buy, or are you buying it because it's going to help you take that next step to creativity, which I hope that's the answer. Now go and execute on that. Go get a DistroKid account and just record a bullshit song every month that's 2 minutes long and just release it, just so you get in the habit of releasing something and forcing yourself to finish something. And there's no rule that says you can't re-record that song in 6 months and do it better and re-release it. Like, get out of your head, just create and do stuff and live the dream and the life that you want. No one's going to hand it to you. Just fucking take that shit and just do it with your story in mind. It'll be good.
I totally agree. Like that was very, very, very well said. Ancient Mariner, one of our chat, says this convo is hitting so close to home on so many spots. Appreciate the advice, guys. Yeah.
And
this
awesome.
This is what we do. This is
you know
why
what?
we do it.
Give him. So another company I work for too, for anyone watching, I know we're like towards the tail end, is I also work at Riff Hard, which is like Nail the Mix. It's taught by John Brown of Monuments. I help out over there. Connect with Steven via email, and I'll get you a free month of Nail the Mix and a free month of Riff Hard too. And you'll be able, if you want some more inspiration, I'll exhaust you with it. Cause yeah, man, whatever I can do to help people that just like need that extra step, man, that, you know me, Steven, that if you guys follow me on Facebook or anything, like if you ever need a kick in the ass to get shit done or a new perspective, I am always more than happy to flip shit over and give you a different outside to, you know, how to kill it out there. There's, you know, we all get in our heads, and it's about having that person in your corner that can get you out of your own head. And I was fortunate that I've had great mentors all my life. So I just want to pay it back. And if you walk away from this conversation pumped to go kill it, then I did what I wanted to do, was just help one person during this stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if you want to take him up on that opportunity, email me, steven@neuraldsp.com, and we'll get you set up on that. But yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that people should be executing. I think one of the things that's really helped me in my audio journey, my tone creation journey, like the video stuff, has just been executing day in, day out, trying new things and just trying to learn from all of my mistakes as I go along. Cause like, as you know, like I've been doing content now for like a little over a year. So that is 1 to 2 pieces of content. Like I think we were doing 2 pieces of content a week for the first between 4 and 6 months, I think.
I don't know. When you first started, you were going hard though.
It was challenging, dude. It was really, really challenging.
You're treating that shit like you were going into the gym trying to try out for the new Batman role or some shit.
Dude,
just
yes.
like, every time I get this video done, I'm gaining like 10 pounds of gains.
A vengeance.
His voice even got deeper. I'm vengeance.
But Bob Warren, he's asking, where did he say to upload songs for release? DistroKid.
Yeah, I mentioned DistroKid just because it's the easiest one. If you're just in your bedroom or you have a couple of friends, it's literally the easiest one, especially if you do covers. They take care of all that stuff. You just upload. You might, if you're doing a cover, you might have to wait like a week or 2 for them to get the licenses required for that. But it's super streamlined. If you are in a band that's getting serious, then TuneCore or CD Baby are definitely going to be the ones you want to focus on. Mm-hmm. But I can't recommend DistroKid enough for its ease of use. It is kind of a pain in the ass with the support, and I have no affiliation to them. I use it myself because it's so simple. But yeah, if you're, honestly guys, just challenge yourself to write one song. And when I say a song, I literally mean 1 to 2 minute long little diddly or thing. Release under alias, under DistroKid, and just challenge yourself every month for 3 months. I'm just going to get one out. And don't be hard on yourself. Just release it with the intent that you just want to get it done and see what happens. You never know. Maybe a lot of people love watching people grow through journeys. That's why like YouTube does so well, is like you discover someone on their journey and then you keep following up, and then you go into the past and you see where they started and when they've grown. That YouTube is just like a documentary channel essentially for all these companies, including Neural. Like if you go watch Steven's first videos to now, you'll see the progression, you'll see the change. People like that stuff. Like when you find a cool YouTube channel, what do? You go watch several videos and kind of just like, oh, where they started. Oh, that's a cool thing. That interests me. Oh man, they have so many things that I like. Before you know it, like you're a fan of that channel, you subscribe, you hit that bell button, and if you haven't done that for Neural, it's right down. I'm just kidding, plug.
Yeah.
But yeah, do that stuff with your own stuff. With video, make your own playthroughs of that 1-2 minute song. Now you have incentive to do it, and you can direct people underneath. Go to my distro or go to my Spotify. You start teaching yourself these little things that matter, and all of a sudden you build this skill set that's super sick. And another YouTube channel to watch is Punk Rock MBA with URM's director of operations, Finn McKenty, who I work with. He has that channel and his personal channel on YouTube. If you want business and marketing advice, being a musician in 2020, go watch that. Go watch his channel. Like pretty much everything I've learned and know and have really honed in on has either been Finn or Gary Vee. And I don't read books. I've never gone to marketing school. I've never done any of that. I just listen to what they say and figure out what they're saying in terms of what it would mean for who I'm working for and the relationship I'm dealing with. And, you know, the first couple of times you do that, it's really hard. But once you get into the flow, you're like, okay, that will work. That won't work. But yeah, sorry for the rant again. DistroKid, just do it. And if anyone watching this, if you do this and you go release songs, find me on Facebook, send me a link, send Steven a link. Like, I'm down to follow you on your journey if you're going to fucking do the work. I'll give you my attention if you do it. Dude, if you put in the work, we will support you.
100%. People hit me up. They're like, dude, I'm loving the Cali stuff. Going to make some stuff. And I'm like, dude, tag me in your posts. I want to see what you're using our products to make. Like, I want to see that progression. I think not
that's just one video, a journey.
Yes.
We want to go on the journey. So and if you're doing it for self-promotional reasons, don't waste Steven's time. Don't waste anyone's time. But if you're like, look at this tone, and the next week, look at this tone, look at this tone. Guess what? Steven's more inclined to pay attention and grow a relationship with you because he sees that you are putting in your own work, and you never know where something like that happens. Maybe Steven grows the YouTube channel and he needs help in the future. If you're doing tones all the time, I don't know. I'm not speaking for Steven. I'm just saying, if you start thinking long-term possibilities, shit can happen, man.
Well, I think that actually brushes on a subject that I was interested in talking with you about, is that approaching people in a position of not necessarily power, but like authority. Like, what are some of the best practices that you feel? Because I feel like you just outlined one of the best ways to do it is just to grow the relationship organically by saying, hey, this is a cool thing that I'm doing. Hey, this is also a cool thing I'm doing. Let me know what you think, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But what are some things that you think would improve people's chances of actually ingratiating themselves with people who have authority?
What does that person of authority care about at the end of the day? Like, if you're not talking to a language they care about, your conversation is dead on arrival. Like, Steven is a teacher at heart, just like I am. So Steven wants to see consistency and execution to make sure the students are learning what they need to learn. And like this video example, if you're doing that as a teacher, he wants to see how far the student will go until the student becomes a peer. And that's, you know, that's the goal for Steven, is he wants to hang out with more Neural users who become peers because they're so good at execution. And he's giving you guys his time every week through videos, through this Q&A, to help you guys get to where you need to go using, you know, the Neural products. But they're tools that he believes in. That's why he works for Neural. He didn't just apply for the job because he wanted a job. He applied because he actually loves the company. And I know that because it's annoying sometimes the way he talks about them. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean he's very enthusiastic sometimes. And like, it's like you can only hear
Neural's
it from
pretty
talking.
dope. Neural's pretty dope.
I know people feel like that with me and like URM and shit. So like, I get it. It's just sometimes like, dude, we've literally been talking about Neural for like 2 hours, Steven. But I don't tell him that. In my head, I'm like, man, he really loves Neural. But that's great. That's what you love. That's your story. That's your journey. You're good. But so for me, first, the easiest way to get in with me is really good fucking memes. Like, and I have a couple people that are really good at memeing. If you guys follow my Facebook or Instagram, like, I'm a savage when it comes to memes. I don't know why. The workload is so like heavy sometimes. And this can be a very mentally draining industry and career path that I like making memes that make people go, fuck, that's hilarious, but that's savage. Like, just because it's like kicking the shit at the cooler at work, and like you guys are just bullshitting to get through the day. And if you don't do that, like the stress of everything can kind of start seeping in. So for me, it would be like memes and then stuff that I'm into. So I like Batman, I like comics, I like audio, I like video. So it's like, if you talk to me in my language and then you're doing the thing that's in my language, I'm going to pay attention to you more. I'm going to see what you're doing. If you're like, every URM member that's on my Facebook feed that posts a YouTube video, I watch every fucking video. And Steven knows this, because when they're really good, I will send them to Steven and say, yo, check out this video. So I watch every single video that every subscriber will do. I watch any like song they just mixed, all that stuff. And I'm honestly, because I'm curious, like, are we equipping them with the right tools? Is there something like we could focus on? Is there a skill set that they don't have that maybe I need to like bring up with Al and Nick? Like, hey, we should make this type of content for this thing, because I'm noticing like a lot of subscribers are having this issue. Kind of like the LBS reason why we made that was because we saw that that's what's happening. And it actually came up on a phone call, and then that phone call led to Al talking to Nick, and then you guys now, like, subscribers now have the LBS fast track. Like, that started with the conversation with me and Al based on shit I was seeing on my Facebook feed, which was everyone was live streaming, but their streams were broken. And I was like, yo, this shit is broken. Like, can we help them? Like, what can we do in this case? It took a couple of months to get here, but that was like, I saw it and I clicked on everyone's live stream. I would click in, watch what was going on for a minute, and click out. And for any person you're trying to get their attention, or any company, you have to know what language do they speak, how are you going to gain their interest in the language that they speak with something that you are doing. And it's a very difficult thing to do when you haven't done it, but as you do it more and more, it becomes more natural. And that skill set applies to like relationships or anything. Like, me and Steven have a good relationship because we both have similar values and we talk the same language when it comes to business and philosophy of life and education and teaching. If we didn't have that in common, we really wouldn't have, like, we could be cool, but we wouldn't have much to talk about besides maybe beer and coffee.
Right. Which obviously are the most important factors, beer and coffee.
That is always the start of the conversation, is what kind of coffee did you have and what kind of stout are you trying this week? But anyone's attention that you want, if there's a company you want an endorsement from, go look at their artist page, go look at all their artists and what are those artists doing? What do their socials look like? If you really want something like to gain the attention of someone, you need to go and figure out what is their attention on. The best example is Gary Vee did a video on an order of wine that he did, and the way he landed the guy was he stalked him on Twitter and then the guy ordered, and then he sent him some sports jersey. I forgot exactly what it was. But that guy ended up referring Gary Vee's wine company to a friend who wanted to put in a big order. And then in the order, he said, I'm also a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. But he understood that. And that's actually a sales technique. And I learned this process from working at the bank for almost 10 years before I called anyone at the bank, I already knew their life story and what language they spoke because of looking at like their profile and understanding them. And then when they came in person, I could read off of their energy and be like, oh no, they're not interested. Like, I'm not going to bother them. But yeah, man, that's honestly the key to life in general. It's like, what's the other person's language? There's like love language, business language, marketing language, the product language. Understanding those and communicating, that's how you get their attention. And some companies love memes and they'll follow you just because your memes are awesome. I've literally closed so many business deals because of my memes. It's retarded. Like, it's so dumb. I can't, and it's like, I'm like, really, this worked, this meme? And they're like, oh dude, it's so good. I'm like, all right, man. I don't understand like why, and when that happened the first time, I was like, will it happen again? So I started making memes based off other companies' meme styles. And then I would notice that like, I would get a message from like the marketing person. That's how I got to know a lot of these people. They're like, dude, your memes are so freaking hilarious. I'm like, I knew you would like that meme because I made it with you in mind. It just took 3 of them to get there. But yeah, watch. Now everyone's going to make memes to get attention from other people and stuff when it's like, no, don't kill the memes.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's honestly, that's like the best advice I could give anyone. Go find that Gary Vee video. He explains it so well too. Finds what's of interest. Everyone's available online. Just see what they're into. What are they liking? You can literally, now I'm giving people Facebook stalker advice. You can literally see what people are liking on Facebook and see if any of that's of interest. And then you can see if they're engaging a lot in that type of content. And you can ask yourself like, sometimes I see stuff and I'm like, man, I'm not into any of this stuff. I'm just not going to force it. If it comes up naturally in conversation one day, that's how I'll start the relationship. But I'm not into any of this. I'm not going to pretend. And I think that's actually a bigger lesson. Don't force stuff. Don't force attention. Don't be a punisher.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, no, my experience has been so far very, very positive with most of the people who are hitting me up. You know, it's like I see Bob Warren in the chat says he's already sent us friend requests, which I'll approve. It's great. I love it when people reach out to me, but there's definitely some people who don't respect our time or our privacy or our whatever. And I've had people like hit me up just asking for the keys to the kingdom, and I'm like, dude, I don't have time to hold your hand through every single thing you want to know. Like, people were asking me for like mixing advice, and it's like I had one person in particular, which I'll leave the name out, but like he's like, hey, could you check out these mixes? And I'm sure, yeah, awesome, for whatever. So I listened to the mix and I gave him some advice, like, you know, take some 350 out of your guitars, or do this or do that. And then he's like, instead of getting the usual like, thanks, I'll try that, he goes, well, what about this? And I'm like, well, try that.
Hey, thanks for
like,
your
well,
time, but
this?
a matter of fact.
And yeah, he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I ended up having to block him. Like, you don't want to be that person. Then you're the subject of conversations outside of the stream between John and I, and it's never good to be in that spot. You know, it's
you
like
never want to be a story.
Yes.
You never want to be a story, and it's so easy to make yourself a story, and I can't. When it happens, I'm always like, I empathize and feel bad for the person that the story's about, because it's like no self-awareness to understand that like you crossed a line and you don't understand that you crossed a line. And had he like, the thing is, I feel like you're so accessible online with your Q&As and the content that you do, that it's so easy to see that, you know, if you're willing to give anyone the time that puts in the work, because essentially any moment of time, any minute of time that you take away from Steven, you're taking it away from Neural's whole audience, essentially, right? So if Steven's going to give anyone that time, it's because he's like, all right, I'll give them a little bit of time this first time because they're a Neural DSP consumer. And then, you know, once that arm is given and then you're trying to pull him in, then it's like, whoa. I got a life and other stuff to do. Like you asked me my opinion, I gave it to you, you didn't like it. So now you're asking me for like more feedback than what you initially asked me for, which means you don't respect me, my time, or my opinion. Because had you respected, you said, thanks for your time, I appreciate it. Then you go make those changes and sit on it for like a week. Then, hey, Steven, I took your advice last week. I did this mix again. When you have a moment, can you please just see if it's different? Here's a refresher. Here's the link from the first mix. Here were your notes. And then here's the link to the second mix. When you have a moment in time, I appreciate you. Very different type of response. And guess what?
Yes.
Steven's going to listen to both, and he's going to probably give you even more notes. But approaching it that way is how you get the right type of attention from anyone. And this is not just Steven. This would be any person, if you're looking for mix or tones or anything. If you approach it with the respect to their time, and that you're not more important than anyone else, and that them even responding to you, they don't have to respond to you in the first place. They don't, like, I know this sounds like a mean thing to say. No one owes you a thing in this world. So the fact that you even get a response from someone, respect that, man. Respect that. You don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know if they're going through a divorce, their kid's sick, their parents going through something, their like dad just moved away. You don't know what's happening in the person's life when you're asking for something. So always respect the time, and always think like that time, you can get money back, you can get gear back, you can't get time back. So always respect it.
Agreed. No, I think that's a really great note to start wrapping things up about. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. Otherwise,
cool. Yeah. And I gave Steven, so I gave out one Nail the Mix and one Riff Hard. Steven, if you want to post in the Facebook group or figure out for whatever, but I'll do 2 more Nail the Mixes. They'll just have to email you, and I'll do 1 more Riff Hard. So anyone watching, if you, Steven, want to, like, I don't know, what did we talk about at 20 minutes and 30 seconds? And what did we talk about at like 33 minutes? And then what did we talk about at 45 minutes? So if you can send Steven a little blurb of what we talked about, first one, and then you can redeem either a riff hard or a Nail the Mix, and we'll sort you out. Does that seem fair? I think that's fair.
I think it's pretty
Means
fair.
you watched.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a good consistent viewership throughout the conversation, so I'm actually really stoked about that. But
Nice.
let's see.
Well, thanks for. Are there any more questions before we hang out? I want to make sure.
So no questions as of yet.
Tight.
Yeah, no, I think we can just go ahead and call it there.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me. Again, if you guys are just tuning in or you don't know who I am, my name is John Maciel. I'm the community manager over at URM Academy, and I also work over at Riff Hard. Good friends with Steven, and just appreciate your guys' time listening to me rant and rant and rant. I'm sorry, but I swear there's good tidbits in there. If you listen to it, you will be successful. I am so sorry. So sorry. And Steven, as always, thank you for having me on. It's always awesome to hang out with you. So thank you.
This was a beautiful conversation. I feel that it was a pretty wide-ranging one, but I feel like there is a lot of value in here for the people listening. And I know that some of you guys are definitely going to take this to heart, and I really hope to see your guys' story play out. As John mentioned earlier, you know, the reason why we do this, why we're having this conversation, why we do the work that we do is because we like seeing you all succeed. You know, your success is our success. You know, like that's really our motivation.
And if you guys do that release advice that I mentioned earlier, let us know. Like, we'll follow you. If you're consistent with it, we'll follow you. You never know.
Absolutely. Bob Warren says, well, this will be uploaded in its entirety later. Yes. So
he's trying to get them timestamps, bro.
Yeah.
He's like, when will it be uploaded? I got to get them timestamps.
Yeah. Awesome. So thank you all so much. Thanks, John. This was such a great conversation again. And as always, we'll see you in that next one.
Later.